Hello, friends. Welcome to the 2025 Masters edition of the Bacon Bets podcast. Going to do 2 episodes this week, starting with today's episode, releasing this Monday morning. I'm just going to go through my thoughts on basically the top 40 players in the field, plus a few long shots. I'll give you just some basic tips to keep in mind when placing your bets, making your daily fantasy lineups. I know a lot of shows out there obviously doing some Masters content this week. A lot of it is long. A lot of it, we got hour-plus research shows breaking down every trend, every single nitty-gritty stat. I'm going to try to streamline those and just give you a few key things to keep in mind, like I said, when placing your bets and when making your daily fantasy lineups. As you might be able to tell if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm in Toronto. I finally made the move back from New York to Canada. I'm in Toronto. A little bit of a different background. Same stuff. A little bit of a different setup here, though. I will be in Toronto moving forward. Shout out to New York. I really enjoyed living in that city for 3.5 years, but it was time for me to come home, so here I am. I've been a little bit quiet online over the past week as I was making the move and in the process of unpacking, which I'm still in the process now, but I'm here. I'm in Toronto, and I am ready to get into Masters Week. Let's talk, before we actually get into the Masters itself, let's talk about Masters Champion Dinner, because this is one of my favorite topics every single year. Especially when there's a new winner, and especially when the winner comes from a place outside of North America. Because if you don't know, every past champion at the Masters attends the Champions Dinner the week of. What night is it? Is it Monday night or Tuesday night? Or Wednesday night? I'm going to guess Tuesday night. Some night, week of the Masters, they all get together, and the winner from the last year chooses the menu that they eat. I like hearing everyone's Masters menu. Traditionally, what golfers do when they make up their menu is they make things from their place of origin, where they're from. So that's why I like it when international guys win. It was a great menu when Hideki Matsuyama won. Obviously, a lot of Japanese cuisine. John Rahm, a lot of Spanish cuisine. I want to make mine my own because there will never be a Nova Scotia Masters winner. Maybe if the Masters goes on for another 2,000 years. I don't know what the Masters is going to look like in 50 years, let alone 1,000. Maybe there'll be a Nova Scotia winner, but most likely not. So I am going to give you my Masters menu as myself and Nova Scotian if we are ever to win the Masters. And I think, now, I'm not a big seafood guy. Seafood's obviously a big part of Nova Scotia, East Coast Canadian cuisine. So this is not exactly what I would like, but I think Nova Scotian cuisine is unique, and I think a lot of people would like it. Starting with appetizers. For a Nova Scotia Champions Dinner, we got shrimp, we got garlic fingers, which if you don't know what garlic fingers are, it's basically pizza. It's basically a garlic pizza. Garlic fingers and mussels. Shrimp, garlic fingers, mussels. Now, me not being a seafood guy, I'm going to be sticking to the garlic fingers myself, but we got some East Coast shrimp. We got some Nova Scotia mussels there for the people. The first course, a little appetizer, maybe a small little poutine. Now, I know poutine is traditionally more of a French-Canadian food, a Quebec food, but it is still pretty big on the East Coast. And there is, a lot of French people on the East Coast as well. It's not just Quebec. So I'm going to do first course poutine. The main course, now typically what I've heard, especially lately, is they make you choose one meat and one seafood. The seafood's obvious, lobster. That is what Nova Scotia is known for the most. When you get off at the Halifax Airport in Nova Scotia, you see big pictures of lobsters and everything. You can buy lobsters right there in the airport. Lobster is easy. Now, we're not necessarily known for any type of land meat. So instead, I'm going to say donair, because donair is a meat. Donair meat. So I'll say for the main course, you have your choice of between eating lobster or donair. Donair is, I guess it's kind of like a shawarma, I guess. Nova Scotia also has a big Lebanese community. So they brought that food over and kind of made it themselves, and it's a very sweet sauce. I'm not a huge donair fan, but it is certainly a very Nova Scotian food. So main course, donair or lobster, and then dessert, a Nova Scotia blueberry grunt. A lot of great blueberries in Nova Scotia. So shrimp, garlic fingers, mussels, appetizer, first course poutine, main course donair or lobster. We're going to wrap it up with a Nova Scotia blueberry grunt. Now, if you're telling me that's a bad menu, you're crazy. Like I said, we'll never see that type of menu because Nova Scotia doesn't have any PGA Tour golfers, let alone one that can win the Masters. If we ever do, that'd be a pretty fire menu to have. So yeah, like I said, on this episode, I'm going to be going through general things to keep in mind, trends, rules of thumb, And then I will go through the odds list, and I will give my thoughts on basically, I want to say the top 40 golfers on the odds list. I'll also give my thoughts on some of the more long shot guys. I do have one outright bet placed already as of Sunday night that I will give you as I get to that person's name on the odds list. The rest of my bets I have not placed. Most sportsbooks don't have prop bets out, the full list of odds out. So those will come later this week. Like I said, I think I'm going to do a show, probably just a live stream on Wednesday night where I just go through all my bets I've placed for the Masters. But I will at least give you names of guys who I will be betting one way or another, whether I bet them to win, top 10, top 20, matchup bet, make the cut bet. Most of the guys, as I get through them, I'll let you know if I'm betting on them in one form or another. I just haven't decided how. DraftKings has a lot of prop bets up already, but obviously we want to odd shop, we want to line shop, so I'm going to wait for some more sports books to release some odds and see where I can get some of these golfers at. So let's get into it. It is the 2025 edition of the Masters episode of the Bacon Bets podcast. Let's go.
No, Lisa. The only monster here is the gambling monster that has enslaved your mother. I call him Gamblor, and it's time to snatch your mother from his neon claws!
All right, let's get into it. The very first thing that you need to know, and this is probably the main thing that you need to know when betting on the Masters, especially the outright market, is that long shots don't win this event. We have seen long shot winners at the PGA Championship. Probably the Open Championship is the one that's most susceptible to a long shot winner. Brian Harman just won it a couple of years ago at like 120 to 1. US Open, in theory, you could see some long shot winners, but if there's one that is a chalky event for the majors, it has historically been the Masters. The last long shot winner would have been Charles Schwartzel. I think that was 2011. Was around 100 to 1 odds. I know a lot of people think that Danny Willett, when Jordan Spieth blew it in 2016, was a long shot winner. He was like 15 in the world or something that week. He was like 30 to 1, 40 to 1 on the odds list. He was not that big of a long shot, of an underdog. So really, I think Charles Schwartzel is probably the last one. Zach Johnson, of course, the year he won it, which was, I'm so bad at remembering years for the Masters. That 2007 Zach Johnson, that was really bad weather. He wanted one over par. It does not look like we're going to get that this week. So generally speaking, now I'm going to give out some names of some long shots, but I think the way you want to handle long shots is toss them in your DFS lineup as a cheap option. Bet them top 20, bet them maybe even top 10 if you want to get aggressive. If you're betting on the outright market, I would generally stick to the top guys on the list. I'm going to go through the list. I'm going to go through the top golfers and give you my thoughts on all of them. But this is the stat that illustrates that trend the most. This was tweeted out by Justin Ray a couple of weeks ago. He said 10 of the last 12 Masters winners were at plus 1.7 strokes gained tee to green or better in the 3 months leading into Masters month. So strokes gained tee to green. That takes into consideration obviously driving, iron play, around the green. It is everything except for putting. So we got to look at everything. This is not an event where it's like if you're a bad driver but a good approach player, you can do well, or certainly not an event where you're a great ball striker but you can't chip. You definitely have to chip at Augusta. You need to have everything firing on all cylinders, except for, some would say, maybe not putting. We have seen bad putters win this event. We have seen bad putters compete for some reason at Augusta. Will Zalatoris, famous example the past couple of years, hasn't won it, but he's contended every year despite being one of the worst putters on tour. Hideki Matsuyama, historically bad putter, won this event just a few years ago. So you can get away with, you can't putt poorly this week, but sometimes we see poor putters have good putting performances at Augusta. I don't know if it's just because the greens are so difficult that it kind of puts everyone on a much more even level, but typically we want to look at golfers who, like I said, have gained 1.7 true strokes tee to green per round in the past 3 months leading into the Masters. 10 of the past 12 winners of the Masters fell into that category. There were the only two that were not were Patrick Reed in 2018 and Hideki in 2021. Both those golfers, what they have in common, great chippers of the golf ball, which is massive at Augusta. So I have done the work for you. I've narrowed down the list of golfers who fall under that category, who have gained at least 1.7 strokes gained tee to green or better in the past 3 months. Number 1 on that list, Colin Morikawa, plus 2.6. Number 2, Rory McIlroy, plus 2.2. Scotty Scheffler, plus 2.13. Joaquin Niemann from LIV. Now, we can get strokes gained data from them, but also keep in mind it is LIV. It is, a smaller field. It is, 3-round events, but still you can get strokes gained data from those events. And Joaquin Niemann is 4th on that list, plus 1.88. Shane Lowry, 5th on that list, plus 1.85. Laurie Cantor, plus 1.78. And then Tommy Fleetwood, plus 1.75. Now, there are some notable golfers just outside that 1.7 number. Some of those notable golfers who just miss out on that list are Bryson DeChambeau, Robert McIntyre, Sepp Straka, Hideki Matsuyama, and Justin Thomas. So I think I can say pretty confidently the 2025 winner of the Masters will come from that list of names. I will even include those guys who just barely missed out. So that narrows it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 golfers, and maybe toss in Jon Rahm in that mix, to be honest. If you toss in Jon Rahm, that's 13 golfers. I would bet a significant sum of money the winner will come off that list. And I can probably get rid of Laurie Cantor. You can probably get rid of Tommy Fleetwood. So then we're back down to 11. You can probably even get rid of Bobby Mack. You can probably get rid of Sepp Straka. This is not what I'm trying to say is we got to bet on guys who've been playing good golf in 2025. This is not an event for a golfer to turn his game around. We rarely ever have seen a golfer play poorly in the couple weeks leading up to the Masters and then all of a sudden come out and win. So stick to the obvious names. Stick to the guys who have played well in 2025. It truly is as simple as that. You can look at all the, average approach distances. You can look at what holes are important. You can look at lefty versus righty, which I will mention because it's always my favorite thing. But at the end of the day, the winner of the Masters is going to be the guy. There's going to be a guy who has played extremely good golf the past 3 months. It truly is that simple. Now you can get into some of the more nitty-gritty stats if you're looking for top 20 bets, if you're looking for, a make the cut bet, if you're looking for a DFS lineup. But if we're just talking outright betting to put on the green jacket, it's straightforward. Pick one of those top one of those top guys on that list. Pick a couple of them maybe, and hope for the best. Another notable outlier on that list, Xander Schauffele, out on that list. Obviously coming off the rib injury, so his numbers haven't been great. He's also been pretty bad with the driver, actually, lately. But I'll talk about him more when I start going down the odds board. I mentioned lefties. This is my favorite stat. Now, as I will say, as the course has been lengthened, this has become less important, but it is still a favorite stat of mine, especially as a lefty. And it is that Augusta National is a course that favors left-handed golfers. If you look at some of the winners over the past 2 decades, a lot of lefties. Bubba Watson, twice. Phil Mickelson, 3 times. Mike Weir, the only Canadian to win a men's major, I should say. Shout out Brooke Henderson. Mike Weir, lefty, 2003, won here at Augusta National. Like I said, though, as the course has been lengthened out over the past number of years, that has been less important, or I should say less impactful. And the reason why that lefties typically have a very slight edge nowadays is because you need a lot of right to left ball movement. For right-handed golfers, that is a draw. For left-handed golfers, that is a fade. Typically, it is a lot easier and a lot more repeatable to hit a fade type golf shot, which is why lefties tend to have a little bit more success because they can hit a fade, whereas righties need to hit a lot of draws, which is a little bit more difficult to hit a fade. Does that mean you necessarily want to bet on a ton of lefties this week? No. But I will at least let you know the lefties in the field. I don't think I've missed any. But here are the names of the ones I found. Mike Weir, obviously, former champ. He's going to be in it. Phil Mickelson, Bubba Watson. Akshay Bhatia, a lefty. You got to keep in mind. Joe Highsmith, who won a few weeks ago, lefty and a bucket hat. Love him. Brian Harmon, who's coming off a win at the Valero Texas Open. And then Bobby Mack, Big Shot Bob, is a lefty as well. So Weir, Mickelson, Watson, Bhatia, Highsmith, Harmon, and Bobby Mack. I don't think I'm forgetting another lefty. If one of the amateurs are a lefty, forgive me that I don't know that. I believe that is your list of lefties in this year's edition of the Masters. All right, let's go ahead and just move on to going down the list of odds. This is what this episode, and like I said earlier, you will find podcasts where they will talk about the nitty-gritties of the stats for an hour and a half, the history, which holes are the most important, the average approach distances. Truly, if you're betting an outright, bet someone who's playing well this year. It actually is that easy. Look into past experience at the Masters. Obviously, the famous stat we'll hear again this year is that no debutant, no golfer who is making his Masters debut has won the event since 1979, I believe it was, with Fozzie Zeller. But we have seen a lot of debutants finish second. Ludwig last year, Will Zalatoris a couple years before that. Sung Jae Im, I believe, finished second in his first year at the Masters. But typically, course history is extremely important. That is also why we've seen some older golfers actually do pretty well. Tiger was old, obviously, when he won in 2019, because it is a lot more experience. Having experience at this course is going to be a significant advantage. All right. Now that you know that that's typically the things to look out for at the Masters, I'm now just going to go through the odds list from top to bottom and give you my thoughts on every single one. And I have some thoughts. Scottie Scheffler. Now, I'll let you know, for the odds list I'm using is DraftKings. Obviously, the odds of these golfers are going to be a little bit different, although depending on what sportsbook you look at. Scottie Scheffler, once again, the favorite. He is 4-1. Scottie Scheffler won this event last year. He won it 2 years ago. This is a perfect course for Scottie Scheffler. But what I've said about Scottie Scheffler over the past handful of weeks, I think holds true this week. I don't think he's good enough in 2025 to justify his price. And actually what I'm going to do, for those who are watching on YouTube, I'm going to minimize myself here so we can look at data golf together for some of these guys. Because I think it is important to kind of visualize what I'm seeing here. And I don't know why I'm struggling to minimize myself. There we go. My OBS just does not want to work right now. All right. Let's take a look at Scottie Scheffler's profile. I'm not going to do this with every single golfer, but some that I think are interesting. We're going to go through. This is Scottie Scheffler right here. Scottie Scheffler is still listed at 4-1. Those are the types of odds that we saw him at last year. But he has not been playing as well as he did last year. Now, look, those finishes T9, T25, these are his 2025 finishes. T9, T25, T3, T11, T20, T2. For any other golfer, pretty much, that's a pretty great stretch of finishes. For Scottie Scheffler, if we compare him to 2024, which those 4-1 odds are comparing him to the way he played in 2024, not good enough. His approach number is still good. They've gotten good recently. His chipping has not been great. His putting has been a little bit hot and cold. And these aren't bad numbers. I'm not going to sit here and say Scottie Scheffler's going to miss the cut. He's going to be definitely top 20, definitely top 10, most likely top 5, and he may even win this week. But if we're talking from a betting standpoint, I want no part of Scottie Scheffler. I will probably try to fade Scottie Scheffler some way. Players' Championship, loaded field, T20. Arnold Palmer Invitational, signature event, T11. Phoenix Open, T25. Pebble Beach, T9. These are not the numbers of Scottie Scheffler that we saw last year. If we scroll down to the 2024 starts, I mean, look at that. Week after week after week, win, T2, T8, T7, solo fourth. Scottie Scheffler is still the best golfer in the field. He has no business being 4-1 this week. I am out on Scottie Scheffler. Rory McIlroy. Here's my opinion about Rory McIlroy. I've said this for a past number of years, and I'm just going to stick to it. Can Rory McIlroy win this week? Absolutely. He's been playing arguably some of the best golf of his entire career. He's probably in the best form he's been in heading into the Masters that he has been the past number of years. 2 wins this season already, 1 at the Players. His ball striking numbers are off the charts. Even, his last, Houston Open, T5. The previous iterations of Rory McIlroy, I had said Rory McIlroy cannot win at Augusta because he had been playing, what's the best way to put it? Almost robotic where I think to win at Augusta, you need to have some artistry. You need to be able to shape the ball. And the Rory McIlroy we saw in the middle of his career was very much robotic. It was very much hit his clubs as high as he can. Try to just attack pins. Early in his career, he had some artistry, and that's when he was really contending at Masters. Now he seems to be back more to that version of Rory McIlroy. He seems to have some artistry. He seems to be a lot more calm, and when he does make a bad shot, he doesn't necessarily lose it psychologically. With all of that being said, I have said I will not ever bet on Rory McIlroy to win the Masters, and I still think he will win the Masters one of these years, but I've accepted that when he does, I won't have money on him, and that's okay. Because I would be so happy to see Rory McIlroy win the Masters. It'd be like as if I did have money on him anyways. I will be completely willing to lose all of my bets if McIlroy wins the Masters this year. There is nothing for me to gain from betting on him. I don't like his odds, to be honest. For a guy who's never won the event to be plus 650. And he's had some stinker performances at the Masters too. Missed the cut 2 years ago at the Masters. Crazy. T22 last year. The driving accuracy does concern me a little bit this year. Although he seemed to figure that out at the Houston Open. But best of luck to Rory. Best of luck to people who are going to bet on Rory. I will not be betting on Rory McIlroy to win the Masters. If he wins, congratulations. I'll be happier than anyone. I will not have money on him. Jon Rahm, 13-1. I'm not going to say I watch live. I don't watch live. I think if you're going to bet on a live golfer, I think there's a lot better options than Jon Rahm at 13-1. His ball striking numbers have not been good this season. He's consistently like top 5 every single event. But those strokes gained tee to green numbers that I referenced earlier, he did not fall in that category. And he wasn't even just outside either. He was a decent amount outside. He can win, certainly. But I'm not going to be betting on him. And I certainly don't like his value at 13-1. T45 last year at the Masters. He obviously won it in 2023. Came back as a defending Masters champion. T45. Colin Morikawa. So all week, the past couple of weeks, I think I've even gone on shows saying Colin Morikawa is going to be my best bet to win the Masters. I think I'm out on Colin Morikawa at 18-1. He checks every single box that you want. He leads the entire field in strokes gained tee to green the last 3 months, and it's not even close. He has a solo runner-up of the Century, solo runner-up of the API, T10 at the Players. His approach numbers are better than they've ever been. He has a great history at the Masters, T3 last year, solo 5th in 2022, T10 in 2023. He's a very accurate golfer, so he's also a very good chipper of the golf ball, the API, over 1 stroke per round around the greens. He checks literally every single box except for strokes gained dog. Colin Morikawa ranks close to last on the PGA Tour in strokes gained dog. Strokes gained got that dog in him. And at the Masters, you need that dog in you. His two major championships came 5 years ago and 4 years ago. No fans or few fans. And he has shown time and time again when he has a lead, when he has a chance to win, he falters. Did it at the API this year. Has done it at the Century a couple of years ago, famous meltdown. I don't think Augusta is the place for Morikawa to fight his demons, to conquer his demons. I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, if you could give me Colin Morikawa at 20-1 odds, 22-1 odds, I would probably take a shot because his numbers are so good. 18-1, I can't quite get there with a guy who ranks dead last in the field in strokes gained dog. I might live to regret that, but I think if he's in contention on Sunday, he will not step up to the plate. He will not live up to the moment, and someone else will get the win. So even though I've said the past couple of weeks I'm in on Morikawa, I am now out on Colin Morikawa. Xander Schauffele, 18-1. And I know there's a lot better odds. I know there's at least 20-1s out there. The case for Xander Schauffele is in his last start, he gained 2.87 strokes, one of his best career ever performances in strokes gained approach. So his irons are extremely good based on the Valspar Championship where he finished T12. Obviously a very good Masters history. I bet on him every single year. This might actually be my first year not betting on Xander Schauffele to win the Masters. T2, T17, T3, T10, solo 8th. My concern is, yes, I know his approach numbers go to the Valspar. This is still not a place for a guy who had a late start to the season, who's coming off an injury. Augusta's not the place where he's going to put everything together. And yes, his approach numbers were good. Still terrible driving. Lost strokes off the tee at the Valspar. Lost strokes off the tee at the Players' Championship. His driving accuracy is all over the place. Sure, having good approach numbers is going to be great at Augusta. But it can't just be irons only. You have to be sharp off the tee, and Xander Schauffele has not been sharp off the tee. I am out on Xander Schauffele. Bryson DeChambeau, a lot of people on Bryson this week. A lot of people on Bryson. I think he just had a good finish at Live Miami. I don't know if Data Golf is going to have his... And my keyboard is deciding to not work. Perfect. Bryson DeChambeau. No, I didn't see what did he finish? Live Miami standings. Solo 5th at Live Miami for Bryson DeChambeau. T6 at the Masters last year, he was the first round leader, but look at his Masters history before that. Miscut, T46, T34, T29, T38, T21. I said before, if you remember, Rory McIlroy went through a period in his career where he was very robotic. He lacked artistry on the golf course, and that is why, in my opinion, he struggled at Augusta. Bryson DeChambeau is an extreme example of that. He may get another couple of U.S. Open wins. He may win another couple of PGA championships. I don't think he can win an Open championship, and I certainly don't think he can win a Masters. He is the definition of a robotic golfer, which isn't a bad thing. That can win you a lot of events. That can win you a lot of U.S. Opens. I don't think it can win you a green jacket. That might look stupid by the time Sunday comes around, but outside of his T6 finish last year, I mean, his history at this course kind of proves that. And also his chipping. Not bad, but his chipping is not good enough for Augusta, in my opinion. And for that reason, I am out on Bryson DeChambeau. Ludwig Aubert. Ludwig Aubert at 20-1. I will tell you this. I think Ludwig Aubert might be the most overrated golfer on the PGA Tour right now. He won the Genesis Invitational. Credit to him. But people are crowning him like he's the next big thing, and that he's going to win the Masters. You're going to hear a lot of people bet on Ludwig to win the Masters this week. Outside of that win, outside of a T5 finish at the Century and the win at the Genesis, he hasn't finished in the top 20. T42, Farmers Insurance Open. Withdrew from Pebble Beach while he couldn't hit the ocean from a boat with his irons. Won the Genesis, then T22 at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, missed the cut at the Players' Championship. Yes, I get that he finished solo second at the Masters last year. I get it, and that's going to be a big reason why a lot of people are betting on him. And I'm not saying he can't compete. 20-1, I think, on Ludwig is insane. We see this all the time. We see a young golfer that people are rightfully have high hopes for, but then they're overvalued. Even if they get an occasional win, they're still overvalued in the betting market. Tom Kim was that version, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He was that guy. We just see it. We see it a lot, and I think Ludwig is obviously an unbelievable golfer. And I'm sure he's going to win plenty of majors in his career. But at 25 years old, a guy who's coming off a missed cut at the Players, who hasn't played since the Players, who has some dodgy approach numbers this season, to be completely fair. Lost strokes approach at the Players, lost it at the API, barely gained any at the Farmers Insurance. For him to be 20-1 to win the green jacket, I'm out. Does not fall in that category of a top guy for strokes gained tee to green over the past 3 months. For that reason, I'm out on Ludwig Aubert. Actually, I saw a video. He wants to be Oberg. He wants the hard G to be pronounced. Ludwig Oberg. Justin Thomas. I could be convinced on Justin Thomas. Now, Justin Thomas is very much like Colin Morikawa. He doesn't quite have the numbers, the metrics Colin Morikawa does this season, but he does rank slightly higher in strokes gained dog. And he has longer odds. 25-1 on JT, over 18-1 on Morikawa. I would much rather bet JT at 25-1 than I would bet Morikawa at 18-1. He has the approach numbers. His driving accuracy does get a little squirrely at times, but it's been better lately, to be fair. He's a solid chipper. He's been actually putting really well lately. Solo second in his last start of the Valspar. Solo second at the American Express earlier this season. He has a pretty solid Masters history. He has missed the cut 2 years in a row. But before that, T8, T21, T4, T12, T17, T22. I will probably play Justin Thomas in some capacity. I've not yet decided how. And if you look at his skill profile, actually, let's just go 2025, his skill profile. What's he best at? Approach and around the green. Huge. Huge for Augusta. I might add him to my outright card at 25-1. And we'll see if I can get slightly better odds somewhere else. I'm in some capacity on Justin Thomas. I've not bet on him yet. But like I said, he has close to the numbers of Morikawa, but ranks a little bit higher in strokes gained dog. And he does provide better value in terms of he has longer odds. I'm kind of in on Justin Thomas. Brooks Koepka. What is going on with Brooks Koepka? T18 last week at Miami. Yeah. He had a solo second in Singapore in March. I mean, he has some solid Masters performances. I'm just not a Brooks Koepka guy. I've never been a Brooks Koepka guy, and I don't see enough to justify a bet on Brooks Koepka at the Masters this year. I don't really have much to say about Brooks Koepka, to be honest. I'm out on Brooks Koepka. Hideki Matsuyama, the most inconsistent golfer of all time. I never know when to bet on Hideki Matsuyama. Every time I want to bet on him, he sucks. Every time I don't bet him, he does great. He's coming off a miscut at the Players. He won the Century to start the year, but then he hasn't finished in the top 15 since. For that reason, for his recent form, and yes, he's just outside the strokes gained tee to green zone that I talked about earlier, but not high enough for me to want to bet on him this year. Maybe in some, round by round 3-ball bets, but overall, I am out on Hideki Matsuyama. Jordan Spieth. Every single week that Jordan Spieth tees it up, I see people betting on him. And not enough people make fun of the people who continue to bet on Jordan Spieth. It's a sickness. Truly. He has not put together, to win a PGA Tour event or a major, you got to play great golf 4 rounds. Jordan Spieth will have 1, maybe 2 rounds of great golf. I don't remember the last time. Even the last time he won, which was I think the 2022 RBC Heritage, even then he didn't have 4 rounds that he put together that he played well. If you guys see someone who's betting on Jordan Spieth this week and making a case for him, tag me on Twitter, because I need to have a sit down. I need to have a sit down talk with that person and tell them to go to therapy. If you bet on Jordan Spieth this week, go to therapy. Truly. I get his Masters history. I get it. I get he's fun. I get you're a fan. I'm a fan. How could you not love Jordan Spieth? How could you not root for Jordan Spieth? But just treat Jordan Spieth the way I treat Rory McIlroy. Cheer for him. Don't bet on him. Don't waste your money. He's all over the place. Although his approach numbers at the Valspar this year, very good. But that's the thing with Jordan Spieth. Like every week he'll thrive in one area and then suck in the other areas. I just have zero faith in Jordan Spieth being able to put together 4 rounds good enough to win at Augusta this year. I'm out on Jordan Spieth. Joaquin Niemann, I'm in on Joaquin Niemann. I know he's the flashy live pick this week. Sometimes the flashy pick is the way to go. I did not have a great event at Miami. Where did he finish here? Joaquin Niemann. I don't think he played terribly though, did he? Why can't my eyes find him on this list? I'm looking for a Chilean flag. T33, not good. Did he peak a little too early? Could be my issue. The other issue with Joaquin Niemann is he's never done well at a major. His best finish was the 2023 Masters when he finished T16, but T16 that year, T22 last year, and even before he went to live, I did kind of feel like Joaquin Niemann was going to eventually win a green jacket. He has the game for it. He can chip really well. His approach game is very well. He's a great ball striker. He can get hot with his putting at times. I will be betting on Joaquin Niemann. I know he's a flashy pick this week. I don't know if I'm going to bet on him outright or bet him to finish in the top 5. Might be the way to go. But I'm in on Joaquin Niemann. I'm going to drink the Joaquin Niemann Kool-Aid this week. I hate he was actually, to be honest, the guy I might have been the most upset about going to live. Because he was young. He's exciting. He's a little fiery. I loved his game. And hey, get the money, but I'm not going to watch live. I'm just not. I miss him. I'll be very excited to watch him this week at Augusta. And I will be betting on him in some form. Have not quite decided yet. DraftKings has top 5, including ties at plus 450. Ooh. I don't know if I can. I think I want a little better odds of plus 450 for him to finish in the top 5. Jeez. I'll be shopping around for some Joaquin Niemann, and I will let you guys know on Wednesday how I'm going to bet on him. Viktor Hovland. Do not bet on Viktor Hovland. I said you need to have good play around the greens. He is one of the worst on the PGA Tour around the greens. Even when he won the Valspar, he still lost strokes around the greens. He missed the cut of the Masters last year. To be honest, I might bet on him to miss the cut. Might be how I'm going to play Viktor Hovland. Great ball striker. I get it. But you simply can't contend at Augusta if you're losing strokes around the greens. You just can't. I'm out on Viktor Hovland. And I suggest you be out on him too. Tommy Fleetwood. I said earlier, Colin Morikawa might be strokes gained dog last in the PGA Tour. Tommy Fleetwood's last. Colin Morikawa was second last. Although it would be very funny if Tommy Fleetwood, who cannot win on North American soil, and that he's had that narrative around him for, 8 years at this point, it feels like, for him to finally get his first win at the one place where guys say you can't get your first win. It'd be poetic. And that would make me happy. I would be happy for a Tommy Fleetwood win. I can't do it. Although his numbers have been fantastic. He does fall in that zone of guys who rank high in strokes gained tee to green. He is one of those few names I said. 5-1 to finish top 5, maybe. But I'm going to shop around for those odds. I'm out on Tommy Fleetwood as an outright. I might be in on Tommy Fleetwood as a DFS play. I might be in on Tommy Fleetwood as some kind of 2-place wager, or maybe even a matchup bet. Pretty solid history at the Masters too. T3 last year, T14 in 2022, T19 in 2020, T17 in 2018. Pretty solid history at the Masters. Him losing strokes at the Valspar with his approach is not promising. I'm going to hope that's an outlier, but we'll see. I am undecided about Tommy Fleetwood. Patrick Cantlay. I want to talk about like the most irrelevant top golfer in the world right now. The most irrelevant of the best golfers in the world. The Players T12. I mean, solid. Patrick Cantlay just finishes like somewhere between like 12th and 25th in every event, no matter what it is. Who gives a shit about Patrick Cantlay? I don't know. He's not going to win. He's always putted poorly at Augusta. That's worth noting. I think I'm just going to completely stay away. I'm out on Patrick Cantlay. And I'm sure you guys don't even want to hear me talk about Patrick Cantlay anymore. Tyrrell Hatton. I said Joaquin Niemann might have been the guy I was most upset about going to live. Really, the answer to that might be Tyrrell Hatton. Although I do find it funny, Tyrrell Hatton like gets mad and like angry when he plays poorly. I find it funny that if he wasn't British, if he didn't have like a charming British accent, then people would hate him for it. But because he's like has a charming British accent, like people find him like getting mad every time he hits a shot is like funny. Where did he finish? At Live Miami. Yeah, basically where he's always been finishing. T33, not great. T19, yeah, he has not played good golf this season. He did win the Hero Dubai Desert Classic in January, but has played middling golf since then. Not the time for him to get into form, and for that reason, I am out on Tyrrell Hatton. Shane Lowry, 45-1 at DraftKings. So I mentioned earlier that I have one golfer who I've already bet. I found him at 40-1. I didn't know if 45 was out there. I'll now be double downing on Shane Lowry as soon as I'm done recording. I'll be going to DraftKings and betting on him at 45-1. I'm going to have to create a DraftKings Canada account because I don't have one right now. But I will, and I'll be betting on Shane Lowry again at 45-1. Of every golfer I have gone through on this list so far on this podcast, I have listed at least one reason why you should not bet on that golfer. I can't find that reason for Shane Lowry. Recent form. Solo second at Pebble Beach. T11 at Cognizant. Solo 7 at the API. T20 at the Players. T8 at the Valspar Championship. Recent form. Check. Does he fall in that group of golfers who have gained at least 1.7 strokes tee to green? Yes. Check. Good Masters history. Pretty solid. 4 top 25 finishes, including a T3 finish in 2022. Check. Previous major winner. Check. Has proven that he ranks high in strokes gained dog. Not all the time, but he has it in him. Check. Is he a good chipper? Yes. Check. His approach numbers. Some of the best of his career. His metrics have been some of the best of his career right now, this season, especially his ball striking numbers. Check. Now, the argument against him is he's not a good putter. He's streaky with his putting. And if he doesn't win or if he doesn't contend, it'll be because of his putting. But other than that, he's accurate. He's been striking the shit out of the ball. His strokes gained tee to green numbers are his career best. He's a former major winner. He's in great form. He's had a pretty solid history at Augusta. And on top of all that, you can get him at 45-1. If I think there's one golfer that is a no-brainer, you have to place a bet with all factors considered, that golfer is Shane Lowry. And I know some other people I respect who have the same opinion. So I'm in. I could not be more in on Shane Lowry. I've bet on him at 40-1. As soon as I'm done recording, I'll be making a Canadian DraftKings account. I'll be betting on him again at 45-1. I'm in on Shane Lowry. Russell Henley, I'm in, not to win though. I'll be betting on Russell Henley in some form or fashion. Great history at Augusta, if I can just bring this up here. He's a great ball striker. He's got everything you want. His lack of driving distance isn't going to kill him at Augusta. He's already won a big event this year at the API. T4 at the Masters in 2023, T15, T11, Solo 21. Yeah, Russell Henley's everything you want. Do I think he can win the Masters? I mean, he can. But I don't know. I don't know if I can see Russell Henley winning this. But I'll bet him T5, T10, something like that. I'm in on Russell Henley. Cameron Smith, no. Cameron Smith, put him right up there with Dustin Johnson. Guys who once they went to live, they stopped trying. Good for them. They made their money. They just want to, play hit and giggle every week. Good for them. Those guys can't win the Masters. Min Woo Lee is kind of interesting. Now, the issue with Min Woo Lee is going to be his driving accuracy. He's all over the place with the driver. Even when he won an event that you can be all over the place and still be okay. But not a guy who I want to bet on. Although T14 at the Masters in 2022, T22 last year. I mean, 2 solid performances at the Masters. Coming off a win, he is a great, scrambler. He's great around the greens. The driving accuracy is not a guy I want to back, though. I'm out on Min Woo Lee. Bobby Mack. I'm in on Bobby Mack. I have not decided how I want to bet him. I don't think I want to bet on him to win, but I might sprinkle at 60-1. He's just outside that zone I talked about, gaining at least 1.7 strokes gained tee to green in the last 3 months. T12 in the Masters 2021, T23 in 2022. Those were his 2 Masters appearances. His last 3 starts were T11 at the API, solo 9th at the Players, at T9 at the Porsche Singapore Classic, so good form. Solid history at Augusta. He's a lefty, if you want to toss that in. Great strokes gained tee to green numbers. Pretty solid chipper outside of at the Genesis. He's been gaining some strokes around the greens. He checks every box that you want, with the added bonus of being a lefty. I'm in some form or fashion on Robert McIntyre. Akshay Bhatia, another lefty. He's going to be somewhat of a popular dark horse pick this week. T35 last year, his approach numbers, he's very streaky with his approach at times. I could get there on Akshay. I don't really have an argument against Akshay. But at the same price, I'd rather bet Bobby Mack. But I'm not really... Listen, T9 at T3 at the Players, like he has solid finishes. Can he win a big dog? Can he win a big one? I don't know. I think I would just rather bet Bobby Mack, but listen, pick one. This is what I'd say. Pick Bobby Mack or Akshay and bet on one of them. Will Zalatoris, I will bet on Will Zalatoris in some form or fashion just because of his Masters history. Even when Will was struggling, he still put up good finishes at the Masters. Obviously, solo second his debut in 2021. And in 2022, T6, T9 last year. The harder the course, the better Willie Z is going to play. Now, he has yet to put it all together for 4 rounds this season, but he can putt at Augusta better than any other course that he plays. His approach numbers have still been very good. I haven't decided how I want to bet on Willie Z yet, but I will in some form or fashion. I will be betting on Willie Z. Sergio Garcia, he's going to be a popular live dark horse, obviously former winner of the event. He's coming off a solo third at Live Miami. He had some solid starts before that. He won Live Hong Kong. He's going to be popular. I might bet on him in maybe some 3-ball matchups. I don't think I'm going to have a tournament-long bet on Sergio Garcia. I'll probably add him in my make the cut parlay. But I'm not going to bet on him to win at those odds. Corey Connors. I love Corey. Would be pumped. But he's so bad around the greens right now. So bad around the greens. Actually, he's gaining strokes. I take that back. He is gaining strokes around the greens. Recent form. Good history at Augusta. T6 in 2022. T8 2021. You want to talk about strokes gained dog? He ranks pretty low. I'm out on Corey Connors. I'll be happier than anyone if he wins. I can't bet on him right now. Tony Finau, no. Sepp Straka, you can get. I'm just going to go rapid fire now. Sepp Straka, I could be convinced. Jason Day, I'm out. Wyndham Clark, I'm out. Tom Kim, I'm out. Brian Harman, interesting, but now, 100 to 1 for Brian Harman, coming off a win at the Valero Texas Open. Brian Harman is a guy who is going to be in form once every 2 years for a 4-week stretch, and you want to bet on him, and that might be the start of his form is winning Valero Texas Open. I probably will bet on Brian Harman in some form or another. Patrick Reed, he has been fantastic at the Masters, no matter how well he plays anywhere else. He shows up at Augusta and plays well. T12 last year, T4 the year before that, T8 in 2021, T10 in 2020. Based on history alone, how did Patrick Reed do? T7 this past week at Live Miami. I am in on Patrick Reed in some form or another. I'm in on Aaron Rye in some form or another. He might be a good bet for top debutant, to be honest. A very accurate golfer. He hits a ton of greens. Seems like a great course fit. Could be a top debutant pick for Aaron Rye. And that's basically of all the top guys. I mean, Maverick McNeely at 140 to 1 is very interesting. I saw someone tweet today let's take a look. I don't want to misquote the tweets. I'm just going to bring his numbers up here. Maverick McNeely. Actually, he could be a top debutant pick too. Maverick McNeely right now is... What's his world golf ranking? 16th in the world. His recent form is bad. It is an issue, though. Solo second at the Genesis this year. T9 at the Phoenix Open. Seems like a great course fit. 140 to 1, you could do worse than Mav McNeely. I'll be betting on Phil Mickelson. He's going to be a great bet to like make the cut. He's coming off a solo 6 at Live Miami. He's a guy who, I mean, people forget he finished runner up at the Masters like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. He's not done yet. He's still going to have some solid performances at Augusta in the next couple of years. Yeah, 2 years ago he finished T2. Crazy. I'll bet on Phil in some form or another. Harris English could be an interesting option. Ball striker could be an interesting option. Laurie Cantor, he's the guy on that list who ranks high in strokes gained tee to green. Now, he made his PGA Tour debut at the Players' Championship and missed the cut, so that's worrisome. But he's in that list of guys who rank very high in strokes gained tee to green over the last 3 months. 200 to 1. And one last name I want to shout out here, who's far down this list, and I'm not going to bet on him to win. He's a former champion. I'm going to bet on him. You can get him plus money to make the cut. I think that's fantastic value, and that's Danny Willett. I've talked about Danny Willett in the past. He's right now 500 to 1 to win. He's not going to win. But Danny Willett has done everything well lately except for hit his irons. I say that. Maybe that's not the case. Let me go. Hold on. Yeah, 2025. But he's a fantastic chipper lately. T9 at the Farmers Insurance Open. I know that's not super impressive, but he's had some solid finishes since winning the Masters. T12 in 2022, T25 in 2020. I think he's plus money to make the cut. I think that's actually a pretty decent look for a former champion in Danny Willett. He can chip around these greens. If you can chip around these greens and scramble a little bit, that's going to be enough to make the cut, in my opinion. But there you have it. I mean, those are my thoughts on just about every single relevant golfer in the field this week. I've basically listed all the golfers I'm going to bet on in some form or fashion. My only outright so far is Shane Lowry. I'll be back Wednesday night at an undetermined time, but I will tweet it out and I'll just go through all my picks. And I'm going to have a lot. I'm going to have outrights. I'm going to have top 5, top 10, top 20s. I'm going to have a couple make the cut parlays with big payouts. I'm going to have round 1 3 balls. I'm going to have tournament matchups. I will bet the Masters every which way possible. So keep an eye out for that. Best of luck with all your bets this week and your daily fantasy lineups and all that stuff. We're days away, my friends. I can't wait. This week is kind of it kind of caps off one of the best stretches in sports. And then we got like another week, and then we got NHL playoffs, and then we're in major season. So this is fun. It's a fun time. I can't wait for Masters Thursday. Can't wait to have a nap halfway through the round on Saturday. It's going to be delicious. Best of luck, guys. I'll talk to you again Wednesday night.